probably know Paul Cappers, who's been a career educator in the public schools, taught music in every grade from kindergarten through university graduate school, and most recently served as chair of the music department in the town of Hingham. Steve Waynen has been in a variety of musical groups. He's known for his great guitar playing and strong vocals. He's played in rock groups, all kinds of things. Totally, I envy his ability to fit into all the different genres. So last thing I want to remind you, what we do with our concerts is we encourage people to, if they like what they've heard, to make a free will donation. There's a basket on the table back there. Our performers today were very nice, and what I would say is took a hometown discount to perform for us. So I really want to encourage you, if you can, only if you can, to make a donation, and 100% of what you donate goes back to the performers. So it's right on the table, on a little basket right there. We really would appreciate it if you can. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to our performers. So why don't you come up? Thank you very much. I won't be singing, so don't be frightened. Okay?
All right. Very much. I would like to point out, I'm very happy to say that the third member of our trio, Ed Bartholomew, is resting comfortably at home 2.5 weeks after quadruple bypass surgery. He's doing well. In fact, he even showed up in church this morning. We tried to give him a ride over here to perform, but just kidding. All right. A lot of the theme of the program today has to do with transportation. Not all of the songs, but there's a number of songs about transportation. And it's all about the United States and how it developed in music from the Pilgrims through the Civil War. Since it's about this land of ours, we thought it might be good to get started with This Land Is Your Land, which you can join in with us. This land is your land, this land is my land. Sing with us. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Roamed and rambled, and I followed my footsteps, the sparkling sands of the diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was chanting. This land was made for you and me. Last refrain. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Now, as I look out and see people who know all the words to the songs we're doing, it doesn't make me nervous, it makes me excited. But the next song you are going to know the tune to, but you probably don't know the words. The Pilgrims came from England. Correct or incorrect?
Uh-oh, trick question.
All right. The Pilgrims came from the Netherlands, right? They hired a ship from England. They certainly were English. Their pastor was very much interested in them knowing the Psalms. So they learned the Psalms, and in fact, one of the few books they brought with them was called the Ainsworth Psalter. So I'm going to sing you a song which was written in 1551, but wasn't published until 1590s or so. And they came across with the Ainsworth Psalter, and it is a song that many people in the Protestant church still sing today. It's called the Old Hundredth, but most people know it as the doxology. After you've paid up your tithes or your nickels or whatever you end up putting in the collection plate, this is sung. So we're going to do it the way the deacons would do it. Now, you have to understand, to be a deacon in today's church is a requirement to be a musician. Some people are laughing. All right. In fact, in my church, I was in the choir, and when I was a deacon, it was very awkward because I'm running around the choir, running around the deacon, it just didn't work too well. So I kind of had to stop being a choral member for a while. Back in those days, it was kind of similar, and all the deacons had terrible voices. Oh, sorry. So the deacons would come up and they would sing something like this. Shout to Jehovah, all the earth, right? And then they would go like this to the audience and the congregation. The congregation was the audience. It was the townspeople, right? The town hall was the church. You could or could not go to church. You had to go to church, right? Okay, so there's all these differences than today. But anyway, the deacon would come out and he would sing poorly, and people would echo poorly. You could see why this was a problem, and we'll talk about why and how that problem was fixed later. But now I'm going to be a good deacon. Please repeat after me. Psalm 100 from the Ainsworth Psalter. Shout to Jehovah, all the earth.
Shout to Jehovah, all the earth.
With joyfulness the Lord serve ye.
With joyfulness the Lord serve ye.
Before his presence come with mirth.
Before his presence come with mirth.
Know that Jehovah God is he.
Know that Jehovah God is he.
Give thanks to him, bless ye his name.
Give thanks to him, bless ye his name.
Because Jehovah, he is good.
Because Jehovah, he is good.
His mercy ever is the same.
His mercy ever is the same.
His truth throughout all ages stood.
His truth throughout all ages stood.
So this version, which you can't see, but it has two parts in it, from the Base Psalm book, which was the first book printed in the United States, in Boston, 1640. So the first book printed in the United States was a music book. So just remember that, how important they thought music was, and obviously you do because you're here at a music program. Now, surprisingly, I was able to see all of those words with the wrong glasses.
You had it memorized.
These next set of words are with the right glasses, but with little teeny words. So I'm going to change over to my famous music glasses, which took me a long time to convince my eye doctor that they were music glasses. And for those of you who musicians play the piano, you understand what I mean. It's a different distance. All right. I said these people were really English people, right? They weren't Netherlands people. They were English people. So they brought with them, what kind of songs would they sing if they were English? They would sing songs that they knew that were sung in the taverns or whatever. So we're going to sing a couple of English songs. The first one's called Joe the Carrier Lad. It goes like this. My name's Joe the Carrier Lad, a merry chap am I. I always am contented, be the weather wet or dry. I snap my fingers at the frost, I whistle at the rain. I whistle, oh, for many a day, and will do so again. Oh, crack, crack, goes the whip, I whistle as I sing. I sit upon my wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My My father was a carrier many years ago. To market on a Thursday, almost regular he would go. Sometimes he'd take me with him, particular in the spring. And up I jump into the box and hear the harness ring. Oh, crack, crack goes the whip, I whistle as I sing. I sit upon my wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My horse is always willing, and I am never sad. Oh, who could live the carefree way than Joe the carrier lad? Ah, the girls, they do all smile at me as I go driving past. My horse is amused as he trots along so fast. And many a mile we've put behind, and happy hours we've had. There's none can treat a horse more kind than Joe the carrier lad. Oh, crack, crack goes the whip, I whistle as I sing. I sit upon my wagon, I'm as happy as a king. My horse is always willing, and I am never sad. Oh, who could live the carrier away? And then Joe the carrier lad. Thank you very much.
Hey, they're clapping.
I know. So the idea on the fermata at the end of that is you look at the other fellow, and if they're turning purple, you do a cutoff. Right? That's how that works. Another great English song that I learned as a child, and certainly was the type of song that they would have done in early America, would be about a fox hunt. And this is called The Fox, and I did not hear too much about it, but I did find the words of it in a famous textbook that I had for research. During the 60s, this book came out, and this famous book of research, very, very high level, was called Songs for Swinging House Mothers. And this legitimately was a book. It had lots of folk songs in it. Spirituals, it was about this thick. It was just a magnificent, magnificent book. And this is one of the songs in it, and I've since, my daughter now has a reading book, and it has pictures and everything, and has the Song of the Fox. It's fantastic. So I guess it's become quite popular.
You don't need me in this, do you?
Oh, the fox went out on a chilly night, and he prayed for the moon to give him light, for he'd many a mile to go that night before he reached the town. Oh, stop. So the way this song works is when I get to the word town-o, then you sing town-o, town-o,
okay,
and then repeat the words that were just on the fourth line just before it. I told Steve that I'd surprise him by a few things today. The fox went out on a chilly night, and he prayed for the moon to give him light. Many a mile to go that night before he reached the town-o. Town-o, town-o, he'd many a mile to go that night before he reached the town-o. Well, he ran to his cave, to his cozy den. There the little ones, 8, 9, 10. They said, Daddy, better go back again, for it must be a mighty fine town-o. Town-o, town-o. I said, Daddy, better go back again, for it must be a mighty fine town-o. Well, he grabbed the gray goose by the neck, throwed a duck across his back, and he didn't mind the quack, 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 for the legs all dangling down. Down-o, down-o, well, he didn't mind the quack, 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 and the legs all dangling down-o. Well, the old mother flipper-flopper jumped out of bed. Out of the window she cocked her head, crying, John, John, the gray goose is gone, and the fox is on my trail. Trail-o, trail-o, he said, John, John, the gray goose is gone, and the fox is on the trail-o. Well, he ran till he came to his cozy den, and there were the little ones, 8, 9, 10. They said, Daddy, better go back again, like the same verse I already did. And the fox was on my town-o, town-o, town-o. They said, Daddy, better go back again, for it must be a mighty fine town-o. Well, then the fox and his wife, without any strife, cut up the goose with a fork and a knife, and they never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh, bones, oh, bones, oh. They never had such a supper in their life, and the little ones chewed on the bones, oh.
In the category of you learn something new every day, you and I both are going to learn like 17 things, new, brand new to you, at least.
As we proceed through with the Pilgrims and the Puritans, of course, were the Puritans living in Plymouth? No, that's where the Pilgrims lived, right? The Puritans got their shop set up with Mr. Winthrop on the hill in Boston. And as their culture developed, they developed a love of lots of things British, one of which was tea. Tea was delivered by the East India Tea Company, right? And they had a variety of different rather strong rules which these various tea companies had established. And the tax money and the income went to them, not to the government in some cases. So the people in the United States were a little upset that they had to pay a tax. All right? So in, what was it? Oh, it's approximately 1773, on approximately December 16th, they decided that they would do something about it, and so they tossed the tea in the harbor, just like you've seen the gecko talk about on the Geico ads, right? All right. So this is a song called Revolutionary Tea, and it's a terrific little song. I dug this out of another one of my wonderful books that I have on doctoral research. I have a doctorate in music, on early American music, and I don't get to use it too much, so I appreciate this opportunity to get before you here and spout off a few little things.
It's pretty cool.
Here we go, ready?
There was an old lady lived over the sea, and she was an island queen. Her daughter lived off in a new country, with an ocean of water between. The old lady's pockets were filled up with gold, but never contented was she, and called on her daughter to pay her a tax of 3 pence a pound on her tea. Oh, 3 pence a pound on her tea. Now, mother, dear mother, the daughter replied, I won't do the thing that you ax. I'm willing to pay a fair price for the tea, but never a 3-penny tax. Ah, you shall, quoth the mother, all reddened with rage, for your own daughter, you see. For sure 'tis quite proper the daughter should pay her mother a tax on the tea. Her mother a tax on the tea.
What verse are we on
And
right
so
now?
the old lady, her servant called up, and packed off a budget of tea. And even for 3 pence a pound she put in, enough for a large family. She ordered the servant to bring home the tax, declaring her child should obey. For old as she was, and a woman most grown, she half whipped her life away. She half whipped her life away. The tea was conveyed to her daughter's door, all down by the ocean side, and the bouncing girl poured out every last pound in the dark and the boiling tide. And then she called out to the island queen, oh mother, dear mother, quoth she, your tea you may have when it's steeped enough, but never a tax from me. No,
Now, during this period of the pre-Revolutionary War, you wouldn't think that anyone in the United States would be interested in music publishing. But actually, there was a fellow named William Billings who published New England Psalm Singer in 1770. And he actually published 4 more books, 5 books altogether. And many, many wonderful songs. Many, many wonderful songs that still last to this day. His Easter song is often done at churches. I know it's done at our church around Easter. And quite a few of his other songs are done. This is the canon of 4 in 1. And it's a beautiful, beautiful canon. I'm going to sing it for you first, and then Steve and I are going to do it in a 2-part round. Usually we do it in a 3-part round. It could be done in a 4-part round. When Jesus wept the falling tear, in mercy flowed beyond all bound. When Jesus groaned, a trembling fear seized all the guilty world around.
When Jesus wept the falling tear, in mercy flowed beyond all bound. When Jesus groaned, a trembling fear seized all the guilty world around.
Seized all the guilty world around.
I'm sure there are a few Christians in here, you know, and other folks, but this is what they were singing back then.
That's
so,
right.
You know?
Now,
Go Jesus.
in these 2 books that William Billings and others wrote, I'm going to back up a little bit. The deacons, who were not very good singers back when they did this lining out, you know, at the beginning of this period that I was talking about in 1620s, 1630s, and so forth and so on, there were lots of issues about why couldn't we do better? Couldn't we learn to read music? Couldn't we have music books? Couldn't we have books with notes in them? The Bay Psalm book, 1640, no notes, just the words, right? You're all familiar with lyric sheets? These are the first lyric sheets, okay? So anyway, they went on the internet. No, they didn't go to the internet. But all right, so in 1721-ish, the Grounds and Rules of Music Explained decided to be written by, of course, John Tufts, as you know. So, did you know? So in any case, we have John Tufts writing this music and saying, we should notate this stuff. So then people started to notate it, and they all went to New England Conservatory of Music to learn how to be musicians. Yes or no? No, there was no New England Conservatory of Music. Harvard University was, you know, took a long time to be organized, and they certainly didn't have a conservatory there in the beginning. So these guys that are chopping wood, William Billings was a tanner, you know, taking hides and turning them into useful things. All these people did useful things as opposed to music. They, on the side, they learned how to write music, and most of them learned how to write it pretty poorly. But a few of them learned how to write it well and put it into things. And then on top of that, did they put it to a printing press with movable type? No. They took a copper plate. I'm serious. They took a copper plate, all right? And this is the whole page is a copper plate. And somebody scrawled in all the notes by hand, wrote it with F's as S's and all that other kind of stuff too, right? And then, oops, I made a mistake on the second note. oh, copper's cheap, let's throw it. No, I don't think so. You know, they didn't have that kind of time and that kind of money, so they used the copper plate with the mistakes in it, printed it, and sent it out. And you know, I don't know if they put addendums at the end and said, or errata, you know, and so forth, but probably they didn't even bother to do that. So some people look back on these early songs and they say, wow, we should do it like the original guys because there's a C sharp here and, you know, I know it sounds terrible. The rest of it, the composer didn't want you to have a terrible sounding note in the thing, you know. So in any case, various different things happen. Many people learned how to write music. There was a fellow who lived in Vermont. He ran a horse farm. In fact, he invented a very famous horse. What horse, anyone know the name of a horse in the United States that's a very, very famous horse? It's called the Morgan horse, all right? Many people have heard of the Morgan horse. Well, Justin Morgan is the one who developed the strain that produced the Morgan horse. And here's Justin Morgan, he writes Montgomery. Now, the names of these songs that were in the tune books, is there a song, by the way, named Hingham? Yes. Is there a song named Plymouth? Yes. Is there a song named Roxbury? Yes. And of course, Roxbury back then was different than what we know as it today, but it's still the same place geographically. All these different towns were named the title. Why? Or a person? We don't know. There's absolutely no relationship between the title and the song. So Steve and I are going to sing you Montgomery, written in 3 parts. We're going to sing all 3 parts. Right, Steve?
Yeah, right. Thank you. You say so.
Was that another surprise?
That was.
Okay. So here you go.
Excuse me.
Ready?
Okay.
1, 2.
Early, my God, without delay, I haste to seek your face. My thirsty spirit fades away without thy cheering grace. So pilgrims on the scorching sand, pilgrims on the scorching sand, beneath a burning sky, long for a cooling, long for a cooling, long for a cooling stream, for a cooling stream at hand, long for a cooling stream at hand, and they must drink or die. My soul, my God, so needs your power, 'tis only you I seek. My every bone, it aches this hour, each step more makes me weak. So pilgrims on the scorching sand, pilgrims on the scorching sand, beneath a burning sky, long for a cooling, long for a cooling, long for a cooling stream, for a cooling stream at hand, long for a cooling stream at hand, and they must drink or die. So pilgrims on the scorching sand, pilgrims on the scorching sand, beneath a burning sky, long for a cooling, long for a cooling, long for a cooling stream, for a cooling stream at hand, long for a cooling stream at hand, and they must drink or die.
Thank you very much.
I'm a bit of a dyslexic, so I need it all done for me. And Ed Bartholomew, God love him, this is all this. Here's a sheet of notation, right? Here's the back of one of his school papers that he had to grade for one of his kids when he was teaching at Derby for 25 years. Spelling quiz, number 15. Halsey? Anybody know Halsey?
Halsey, yeah. I want you to know this is all choreographed. He was doing that while I was getting my drink of water, and so it really works out very nicely. Speaking of drinking, our next song is about the drunken sailor. So I would like to recruit several drunken sailors. Excuse me, that is not what I meant to say. I'd like to recruit several people from the audience. Steve plays this one. Is that another surprise, by the way?
Nah, no problem.
Because I want you to understand how this works. So I'm looking for 2 or 3 recruits from the audience who would be willing to be sailors and walk around the capstan. This is going to be a capstan here. I know it looks like a microphone, but you have to use your imagination. A capstan is something that's about this size, and it turns, okay? And what happens on board ship is, of course, the ships that we're talking about and the ships that we'll be singing about later have sails. That's the first thing you need to understand. And sails, do they have ropes? No, they don't. They have lines. So, but just because I didn't want to be obnoxious, but I thought it would be fun, we'll talk about ropes, okay? So we have ropes or lines or whatever, and they get wrapped around the capstan. And there's a couple of different ways you can run them up. One way is, of course, you can spin around like this, and you go like this, and the thing comes up, right? You get a little mechanical advantage there, but not much. You get a lot of mechanical advantage with levers. And if you have several people with levers, then you have all the people with levers with mechanical advantage. So one lever comes out of the center of the, now remember this is a drum, right? So it comes out and holds the capstan out here with a stick that goes into the slots. And they walk around like this. What should we do with the drum? See, right, like that. And then if there are 5, 6 people, they go around in a circle, hopefully the same direction. And the rope line is wrapped around here and secured, popped over. And then as you walk around like this, stepping over the rope when it's your turn, over here, because the rope's coming up from there, and then you go like that, then it winds it up, and up comes an extremely heavy object, which cannot be lifted by a single person, cannot be lifted by 7 people, but can be rolled up by 5 because of mechanical advantage. And also, there's a ratchet in this. Whoever designed the ratchet was a genius, because that keeps it from pushing back. So if there was no ratchet, you would have to continue to move at a steady pace. All right, so one of the ways that this was done, can we have a D minor chord there, an A minor on your 5th fret?
You can have whatever you want to be.
So the lead person, the singer, would go, well, what should we do with a drunken sailor? What should we do with a drunken sailor? What should we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Then on way. There's 2 over there in the corner, maybe. Yeah? All right, she's finishing her homework. Could I have 2 more volunteers somewhere? You don't have to be under 20.
Dennis.
Oh, Dennis is going to.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right, good. So I think 4 people is probably all we can handle here. That's good.
That's great. Thanks.
All right. So now we have names here. We have Dennis.
Yeah.
I'm Paul. Patrick and Deanna. All right. So now, Patrick, if you'd stand over here. Now, everyone is going to take an imaginary stick. So, there's your stick. Patrick, your stick. I take my stick. Oh, I dropped it. Sorry. All right. Now, push it into the thing here. All right. Everybody face so that your right arm is to the center of the circle. Good. Now, good. Now, let's practice this. Away, hey, up she. Oh, we got it, folks. All right, so let's start the song. Ready? What should we do? Let's go back to where we started.
Be a little faster than that, folks, though.
Okay.
Yep. 1, 2, let's sing first. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor? Early in the way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, early in the morning. Stop. What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a scupper's pipe? And what shall we do with a scupper's bit early in the morning? Early in the way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises, early in the morning. Next verse.
Hoist board with a running bowline.
Hoist with a board with a rolling bowling. Hoist with a board with a rolling bowling, early in the morning. Go. Way, hey, up she rises, way, way, hey, up she rises, way, hey, up she rises early in the morning.
That's what you do with a drunken sailor. That's what you do with a drunken sailor. That's what you do with a drunken sailor. Early in the morning.
Go!
Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises early in the morning.
Amen!
Bravo, bravo.
All right.
Thank you.
What good sports. All right.
And I'm a good sport for having him pull all this stuff on me, and I don't know what I'm doing up here.
You were terrific.
Oh, shush.
All right. Guess what, Steve?
She's going to pull another one on
This
me.
long lecture that I had prepared for the coast of High Barbary
Yes.
is going to be cut a little shorter.
Oh.
So we just sing the song, all right? No, but basically, we know about pirates. You know that the pirates were a real pain in the neck in the 1790s or so they formed a navy. Who was the man who was responsible for the Navy? John Adams was really the big pusher for the Navy, but it was Thomas Jefferson who really did the first treaty with the pirates of Barbary. Where is the Barbary coast? Northern Africa, right? Northern Africa, Tripoli, and so forth. From the halls of Montezuma, Mexico, to the shores of Tripoli, which is Libya, you know. I was, you know, for a long time I didn't know where Tripoli was. I had to kind of look it up on a map when I got older. I knew where Montezuma was, but anyway, then some things happened with Reagan and I learned where Tripoli was. All right, so we're going to sing The Coast of High Barbary. It's a real fun pirate song. Wait a minute, we're the pirates, aren't we? We went from the good guys.
Wait a minute.
The best part about the pirate song, we did this for the first time a few years ago, and we decided it'd be brilliant if we all wore an eye patch. So we all put an eye patch on. But we forgot that we were 60 years old and that we couldn't see a blooming thing with only one eye. So talk about a drunken sailor. All right, here we go.
Another one of Ed's brilliant things.
1, 2, 2, here we go.
Look ahead, look astern, look to weather and to lee. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. I see a rack to the windward and a lofty ship to lee, sailing down on the coast of High Barbary. Oh, are you a pirate, a man of war, cried we. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. Oh no, I'm not a pirate, but a man of war, he cried, sailing down on the coast of High Barbary. We'll back up our topsails and heave our vessels to. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. But we have got some letters to be carried home by you, sailing down on the coast of High Barbary. For broadside, they fought on the main. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we, till at last the frigate shot the pirates' mast away, sailing down on the coast of High Barbary. Four quarters, the saucy pirate cried. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. The quarters that we showed them was to sink them in the tide, sailing down on the coast of High Barbary. With cutlass and guns, oh, we fought for hours 3. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. The ship, it was their coffin, and the grave, it was the sea, sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. Hey!
song.
Arg, that was a
Yeah,
good
arg. Quite a story.
Well, another really great part of the development of the United States was the canals. Of course, we have the Erie Canal, we have the Blackstone Canal, which I learned a lot about when we did a program at the Blackstone Library. But they had a canal all the way from Worcester all the way down to Providence, and it didn't just open up commerce. It basically, in a major way, opened up the Industrial Revolution with the cotton industry and making clothing on a mass-produced scale. It was pretty impressive what went on there in our own Blackstone River, not too far from here, that some people don't know about. All right, so we're going to do the Erie Canal. I got a mule, her name is Sal, 15 miles on the Erie Canal. She's a good old worker and a good old pal. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. We've hauled some barges in our day, filled with lumber, coal, and hay. And we know every inch of the way from Albany to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, 'cause we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you've ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Well, get up there, Sal, we passed that lock. 15 miles on the Erie Canal, and we'll make room for 6 o'clock. 15 miles on the Erie Canal. Just one more trip and back we'll go, through the rain and sleet and snow, 'cause we know every inch of the way from Albany to Buffalo. Low Bridge, everybody down. Low Bridge, 'cause we're coming to a town. And you'll always know your neighbor, you'll always know your pal, if you've ever navigated on the Erie Canal. Well, the railroads pushed out the canals, didn't they? The Erie Canal was finished in 1825 or something, and it wasn't long before the railroads were pushing things along and pretty much did away with the canals as a viable way. They may have had 10 years or something. The first railroad in the United States was in Windsor, Massachusetts. Windsor, Massachusetts. It's a gravity railroad. I think they took horses and pulled not the engine, but the carts up to the quarries in Quincy, where what was the name of the Departed? Is that the name of the movie that took place in there? And they have the
scenes.
Yeah, with Matt Damon and so forth. Well, they would make they would cut into the granite. They would put it into the railroad cars, and boop, all the way down to the ocean by gravity. And of course, later on, they got locomotives and all that sort of thing. I read a fascinating book 20 years ago called The Railroads of New Hampshire. And it showed how they would build a railroad on the side of, like, let's say, Mount Washington. Harvest the stuff, harvest the timber, 5 years, whatever number of years it would take. Pick up the railroad, pick up the ties, pick up the rails, leave it a big, ghastly mess, and move on to another area of New Hampshire and get the timber from another big mountain. And, I mean, the scale is just phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Is that cog railway up the side of Mount
Yeah, well, the
Washington?
cog railway is still there, yeah. All right, Steve, let's do Danny Boy here. I like to do this song because there's so much Irish labor that took part in everything that happened with the building of the railroads. So let's sing Danny Boy. Sure. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling From glen to glen and down the mountainside, the summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. It's you must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when ye come and all the flowers are dying, and I am dead as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave for me, and I shall hear those softly tread above me, and all my grave will warmer, sweeter be. And you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to All right, let's do a little Blow You Winds. I think we probably should close with this one. You guys have been great. We can sing thousands of songs, but
audience, thank you.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Great.
But we plan on doing a particular length program, so I think that's about what we should do. It is advertised in Boston, New York, and Buffalo.
Time out.
Time out. So kind of,
I got to retune it.
That's right.
You did the drop D thing, now you got to retune it.
These clipper ships, this is about the clipper ships and about whaling. Long before the Pilgrims or anyone else came over here or Moby Dick was named, there was whaling done. Some people may not realize that the whales used to, they still do from time to time, wash up on the shores of Nantucket Island because of where it's located. And the Indians, realizing this and not wanting to waste a whale, learned how to do certain aspects of the whaling, not as sophisticated as setting up a try-works and so forth and so on to get the oil. But they did the whaling, and when some of the people, I think one of the main characters in Moby Dick is an Indian, if I'm not mistaken, Queequeg or something like that, right? Is that what his name was? So in any case, the whaling industry in New England was huge. Blow You Winds?
Blow You Winds. Let's do it.
Tis advertised in Boston, New York, and Buffalo. 500 brave Americans are waiting for to go, singing blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds hi-ho. Veer away your running gear and blow ye winds hi-ho. They send you to New Bedford, that famous whaling port, and give you to some land sharks to board and fit you out to sea. Blow ye winds in the morning, blow ye winds hi-ho. Veer away your running gear and blow ye winds hi-ho.
see, my boys, the wind comes on to blow. One half the watch is sick on deck,
The other half's below, singing blowy winds in the morning, blowy winds hi-ho. Veer away, you're running here, and blowy winds hi-ho.
ah-ho, ah-ho. And we're gonna get washed up made fast when we get through our sailing. Up a ribbon glass around, we'll pass no more this blubber whaling, singing blowy winds in the morning,
Blowy winds hi-ho. Veer away, you're running here, and blowy winds hi-ho. Terrific. God bless you, and have a safe trip home. Enjoy the beautiful day.
Thank you. As you're filing out, we're going to sing another song here. So go ahead, you can file out if you like it. Well, let me tell you a story of a man named Charlie on that tragic and fateful day. He put Texas in park